So just say, who are you?
My name is Franco,
Okay.
and I have a story to tell about a close encounter that happened June 6th, 2006 at about 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was renting a temporary room up in North Boulder off Wonderland Lake, and literally right on the lake. And the house only had like 2 other people in it, and they were sleeping. And I'm up late at night all the time on my computer. And it was a little after 2, a couple minutes, and all the dogs in the neighborhood started barking like profusely out of control. And I was like, wow. So I look out the window, and the lake is only maybe 45 feet from the back of the house to the edge of the lake.
Oh, very close. Yeah.
And there's a big walkway around it. And on the lake, hovering above it, is a large luminous craft. I would say, for an example, size of a house. There were 2 big lights on the back that were enormous. I would say they were about 30 feet to 40 feet in diameter each, and they were separated apart by about, I would say another 30 feet apart. So they were big, and they were huge, and they were circular, and they had like a wonderful like peach color to them.
Peach color.
And then there were lights around the thing, and it wasn't a circular craft. And it had different parts of it you could see that were protruding from it. And it was moving like this across the water. And it was moving forward. And of course, I was like, holy cow.
Any
right?
sound?
There was no sound except the dogs barking. Not a single noise. And of course, my heart was starting to jump a little. And I'm like, and right then and there, I'm thinking I need my camera or something. I didn't have anything. And I also had fear. I thought running out there is probably not the best thing to do. And then it was only like 2 minutes later that it blinked out and then shot up to the top of the ridge of the foothills, which is a good, I'm guessing, 350 yards up there. And then boom, it was up there. And I thought, this is not happening. And the dogs are still barking, rah, 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 rah. Now we're into this now a good 7, 8, 10 minutes. And I didn't know what to do, so I'm watching this thing, and it's just swaying like a bell. It's just moving like this. And you could just see it just kind of moving like this. And it was above the ridge, probably, at that distance, it's hard to tell. I would say, 80 feet above the ground, 100 feet, just about on the ridge up there. And at this point, I look over to the right, and all the houses along the lake all have their lights on. And some people have their car lights pointing up there. And the dogs are all barking, and lots of people see this thing. It's incredible. So at this point, I'm sitting there, and I go, what am I going to do? So I open up my laptop, and I go to the UFO National Reporting Agency. I just Googled it, and I started reporting it. And I'm on a chat with these guys, and they're saying, okay, when did this happen? I says, it's happening right now. And where are you? And I gave them a location and everything, and told them what I saw. And
National UFO Reporting Center?
Yeah. And then, of course, I sent it off, and I look up out the window, because I'm keeping an eye, and this thing moves over to the left about 150 feet, turns around, and the other side has red lights on it. And they're huge, size of a house. And it sets down and lands up on the ridge. When it landed, and I don't know how to describe this, there was a vibration, and you could feel it hit your chest, and it felt like a little uncomfortable. It was like, and all the dogs in the neighborhood stopped barking all together in unison. It was so quiet, you could hear a pin drop. There was fear in the air. All the lights along the lake, everybody shut their light off right away and went, you could feel that. this is really happening, and people were scared. So at this point, this light is on this back of this craft. It begins to pulsate from bright to dim, and it began to get more intense. And this went on for about 15, 20 minutes. And I'm sitting there watching this incredible thing going on, and there's nothing I can do except watch. And I've got a really eerie feeling like, this could escalate into something more intense. So it was about 30, maybe 35 minutes into it, I began to hear the sound of military jets closing in from the northeast. And I know there's some base out there, I forgot what it's called.
Warren.
Yeah, Warren.
Cheyenne.
And I'm still watching it, and I hear the jets getting closer and closer and closer. And now at this point, the light is so brilliant on the back of this thing. It's almost as if it's charging up. And it's really bright, the most crimson red I've ever seen. And when the sound got loud enough, the light went down to a little point, like a little purple spot. And it shot up in the air about 2,000-3,000 feet and just sat there for a second. And you could hear the jets closing in, right? So this thing, you think it would just take off? No, it does like a teaser, and it does a loop. It goes whoop, whoop, and it stops, and then it goes pow, and it shoots off, and then the jets shot past. Whoa. And they were so close, it rattled the windows on the houses. And it was beautiful. The whole thing lasted about 40, 45 minutes.
They were using afterburners?
They must have been, yeah. It was very like Spielberg-like. It was like a movie. And it was so intense. Such a beautiful experience. And I don't know what else to say except the next day, I told my friends about it because it was very late. And then I didn't call Harlan or anybody. And Harlan had known a lady up there, and she had called him and told him the whole story. Other people had checked in and were sharing the same story. And then in the paper the next day, they were saying it was a weather balloon.
Oh, the old weather balloon. Did you ever see anyone else reference it on the web? Any other reference to it in the paper besides that?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, these guys that did this video archiving stuff, they got my name off the internet because I reported it and contacted me. And I forgot their name now. I'm sorry, I can't remember it right now. And they came and interviewed me. And they did a really nice job. They showed pictures of the lake and the hill, and I told the whole story. And it was on YouTube for about 3-4 years, and then for some reason it got taken down. And then I don't know what happened to it. And I had it archived somewhere, and I haven't been able to find it, the actual clip that they did. But it was really good. And there was a lot of other people that had the same story. So it was collaboration. I felt good about that.
When the object shot off, the last moment,
yeah,
when the jets did it make any sound? Or
not a sound.
The only sound is when it was landing and
it wasn't like a sound that you could hear. You could feel the vibration. And I think that's what shut the dogs up. That was very eerie. When all the dogs, and they didn't bark at all, not once, the rest of the night. There was a lot of dogs.
And they were quiet for a long time after that?
Yeah. It had something, there was something there.
Well, thank you. That was great, and thanks for sharing the story.
Of course. My pleasure.
Yeah.